So we are doing a few impromptu interviews with people today, working in the studio for the SongStart competition that Shake It Up, CFM and USC are all partnered to do. I'm Andy Ward. I run the Music and Creative Industries programs here at University of the Sunshine Coast, and we are about to walk into the new studio facilities here and have a quick chat to Derek. Derek's eco-songwriting and protest songwriting specialist. He's doing a PhD in eco music. So let's see. I think he's in the studio. The studio's locked. Hang on. And I think we'll find him right here. So, hey mate.
Hey, g'day Andy. How are you?
Yeah, good. Mind if we have a chat to you about the session you're in at the moment?
Yeah, no, sure. Come on in.
I'll set up a camera. Derek, thank you very much for letting me interrupt your songwriting session.
Okay.
We're just making a video at the moment for SongStart Competition, so everyone kind of watching it at home or at school is hopefully going to take part in the songwriting competition.
Right, so these people out here, they're all song starters, are they?
With any luck, yeah. Hopefully. So
G'day.
that's kind of grade 8 to grade 12 at high school.
Right.
And they're going to work on just the basic kind of lyrics, melody and harmony for a song they'll send in to us. And we'll get a panel of experts to judge it. And once we have the top songs, they get to come to the studio here and record with Lachlan and Bryony and myself, and then hopefully we put their song on the radio with CFM.
Jeez. I tell you what, you guys are lucky. You are lucky because these guys are fabulous and these studios are awesome. So get into it.
They're all right. It'll be fun to get some music in here.
Absolutely.
Speaking of, how's your songwriting going today?
Yeah, good. I'm getting there. I'm trying to write a song about climate change,
Right.
with the message that, we've made our climate change. So I've sort of got that as the hook in this song. But I'm a bit stuck, so I'm looking for ideas at the moment.
Where do you go when you look for ideas? Is there anything that you found that's inspirational recently? Or?
Yeah. Well, you just got to turn the news on and you hear all sorts of things about damage that we're doing to the environment and all sorts of stuff. But I found this thing on YouTube the other day. This
great.
guy tells a bit of a story about how we're messing up the world.
Well, that's handy. That's where everyone will be watching this from.
Yeah.
Have you got a link?
Yeah. I think it's wherever you put it.
All right, so we'll put the link in the description. If you pause this video now and open up the link in the description down below and go watch the video, then come back and I guess we'll keep chatting.
Yep.
Thanks, mate.
Okay, good.
So welcome back, everyone, and thanks for watching that video. Derek, it's a pretty interesting bit of work. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it and what it means to you?
Yeah. Well, I guess the thing about it is you can see from that video that we have a huge responsibility to look after this planet. And if we don't do that, things are going to get pretty dire in the next 50 years, 60 years. So I guess my contribution to that as a musician is that I need to write a song to tell you how I feel about it. And hopefully my song will then get a message across to people.
It's interesting because there's two reasons we write songs. There's we write songs for ourselves, like you.
Yeah.
We feel an urge to do something like
Absolutely.
that. But then there's also we're always writing for an audience as well. Do you think music, in all of the very flooded and full-on digital environment that we have around us these days, with all of the information available to us, do you think music can still make a difference?
Absolutely. Like you might not guess, but I'm over 30 years old.
35, I think this is about.
Yeah, but anyway, I've been around it a long while, and I can tell you that eco music has been part of our listening panacea for as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
People have been writing songs about the environment and how to look after it for years and years and years. I guess one of the songs that really inspired me is a song by Joni Mitchell. It's called Big Yellow Taxi. Would you like to hear that?
Love to hear Big Yellow Taxi. It's one of my faves as well.
Okay.
I'm maybe a little older than the people watching as well. It used to always be on the vinyl player in my house when we grew up. Joni Mitchell was a big favourite of my mum's.
She's a beautiful singer.
And Counting Crows did a cover when I was a kid at high school.
Yeah,
back in the kind of grungy era, which is great. Maybe let's see. The people out there can throw together a cover as well. Not for SongStart, but it's a great song. So we'll pause the video now. If you want to pause the video and click the link to Big Yellow Taxi, in the comments below, in the description below, and come back once you've had a listen, and I guess we'll keep talking about it.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Absolutely.
Thanks, great. Thanks for sharing that with us, Derek, and hopefully everyone at home's stopped and watched Big Yellow Taxi by Joni Mitchell. It seems like environmental music, eco music, protest music is a real focus of yours. How do you know so much about it?
I guess a couple of things. First of all, I'm an environmental scientist. That has been my thing. So I know a lot about the environment, and I know a lot about the science behind it, ecosystems, ecosystem management, that sort of stuff. But I'm also a musician, and I know that my connection to the environment has been enhanced by music. And so I guess what I'm trying to do now is really provide a way of musicians to share.
So what specifically is it about Big Yellow Taxi that you want me and people watching this to pick up on?
Okay, well, why don't your friends have a bit of a yarn about that? I mean, what did you guys hear in that song? What was it about that song that what were the messages in that song that you heard?
So I guess if you're at school at the moment watching this with your teacher, or even if you're at home, maybe pause the video, step away from the screen for a little while and have a chat with those around you. Maybe make some notes about what you think the important message of Joni Mitchell's Big Yellow Taxi was. And we'll be back in a second with you, hopefully.
In a second.
Okay, so I know the song pretty well. You know it much better than me, I'm sure. And the viewers and song starters have hopefully heard it before. If not, they're hearing it for the first time.
Yeah.
What did you pick up on it? What do you think the meaning is in comparison to what everyone's written down at home?
Yeah. So I'll share with you what my thoughts. First of all, let me tell you that it took me a little while listening to that song to really understand the depth of her lyrics there. But there's 3 environmental messages and then a 4th bit which is really important. The first environmental message where she talks about a pink hotel and a groovy night spot thing and a car park. I mean, she's talking here about the impact of development on our natural systems. The second thing she mentions is, people pay $1.50 just to see them. She's talking about trees. She's talking about deforestation and the loss of forests. And, the thing to think about here is when you cut down a tree, it's not just the tree that you're killing. There's just this myriad of life that lives in and around that tree. And so she's talking here, and she talks about the irony of tree museums. So, and the third thing she talks about is what they realised in the 60s and 70s of the last century is that there are chemicals that are killing a whole lot of stuff. One of those key chemicals was DDT. And she talks here about, can we stop can we please stop using DDT? It's killing everything, not just the things that you're targeting in your crops. So it's farmers using DDT. And, in fact, this is really interesting because this song was part of the campaign to ban DDT across the world, and it worked. It was really good. And the last thing she does in the song, Andy, is that she talks about her relationship breakup. The last thing is where her boyfriend leaves her and gets in a big yellow taxi and drives away. And I guess what's really, really significant about that is that she sort of says, for those of you who aren't really super connected with the environment, this is how it hurts. To lose the environment is the same as losing your partner or your boyfriend or whatever, girlfriend.
So it's an interesting way of personalising. I mean, for people watching this in terms of learning how to write a song or what protest songs are all about, it's a really interesting way that Joni's personalised the song. So you can listen to the whole thing as a kind of environmental anthem, but really at the end it's kind of a love song for a dying planet or a planet in danger. And that's a really beautiful way we can use songwriting and the techniques of songwriting and lyric writing to take a big issue and not necessarily talk about it literally, but use metaphor and imagery and all of these beautiful things in that song to express a really important message. And as you say, it worked. So do you have other examples that we can get everyone, currently watching to listen to?
Well, look, the thing about eco music is not restricted to, like, Joni Mitchell's a bit of a folk rock sort of artist. It's not restricted to that. Eco music happens in all sorts of music. And, jazz, rock, classical music, it's there. It's everywhere if you look for it. I'll just share with you a jazz rock eco music.
Jazz rock, okay,
jazz
great.
Rock.
Yep.
This comes from a band, a Western Australian band, actually called MANTECA, and they did a version of this song. It's called Nuclear Blues, and it's quite obvious what they're talking about here. The issues about nuclear energy and nuclear weapons on the Earth. So, what have they got to do? They've got to go.
We'll put the link to Nuclear Blues in the description of the video down below. So again, pause the video, open the link in a new tab, and have a watch. And I guess we'll keep talking.
Right back.
Beautiful. So hopefully you watched that video. That was the link in the description, and we're still chatting about eco music and protest songs with Derek. It's a pretty jazz rock is a pretty far out kind of genre. It's not necessarily, I think, anything the song starters would have first thought about when it comes to writing a song.
Yeah.
But in terms of writing a song, is there an approach, or is there how would we start doing something along those lines?
Andy, I think one of the things about starting any song, for me, and I can only talk for me, but one of the things is emotion. Something happens and it affects me, and that's where a song starts for me. And then from there, I might sort of bubble out some words about what it is that's worrying me, and so I'll just go back to that thing, that I was working on. We made our climate change. That to me was this little hook that I realised that all of us are involved in this climate change thing that's going on. So that's what I've got so far for that song.
So it's come from this kind of place of connection, place of emotion. And so should we ask everyone watching to again kind of take a break from the screen and write some lyrics and think about something that they feel strongly about, or something they've had an emotional connection with, to do with protest or the environment. And if you want to write some lyrics down, any style doesn't matter. It can be spoken word, can be rap, can be sung, can be whatever you want.
Absolutely.
It's a great starting place just to get some ideas down. So should we make them all take a pause and write some lyrics?
Yeah, I think it's good to reflect. First of all, reflect on, what is it about the environment that might be worrying you at the moment or upsetting you at the moment? or a change that you've seen that's been really great. I mean, it could be something really great that you've seen people working for the environment. But we're talking about protest songs here, so really what we're talking about is what's really getting up your goat at the moment. And what are those emotions, what are those feelings, and what's the topic? I guess that's somewhere to start.
Great. Excellent. All right, well, let's take a break and give everyone a few minutes to write down a few lines of lyrics in response to your inspirational words.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That sounds like a great idea.
All right. Welcome back. Hopefully you've done a bit of lyric writing. Derek, it strikes me we've listened to a bit of guitar-based music, and we've listened to a bit of kind of jazz and rock style stuff. I wonder if anyone watching has a particular style in mind when they're thinking about music. Is eco music about a genre or a style, or how would you frame it?
Eco music is about the musician's attempt to add to a sustainable world. That's what it's about. Style is irrelevant, but it's what your style is, what your style is. What do you like?
That's an excellent definition. So I like that if it's about a musician's attempt to live and contribute to a more sustainable world,
Sure.
Obviously songwriters do that through writing songs, but they can also do that by having less of a carbon footprint, or
Sure.
There's bands out there like Coldplay who decide they're not touring until we solve the problems of carbon footprints. And so if it's not a style, we could probably give some other examples of eco music in different cultural environments. So I mean, Bob Marley's got to be a big one, right? Reggae music, Peter Tosh, everything that kind of emerges out of the Caribbean, out of Jamaica, reggae, dub, has a really strong environmental, it talks about Mother Earth and the notions of us kind of all belonging to the earth, which is a beautiful idea. But then it's in hip hop. Like, I was amazed. Public Enemy, who are a pretty hard-hitting hip-hop outfit from the 90s, did an eco song called "Don't Give Up the Fight," it's from a group like Public Enemy to be focused on environmentalism in their work is amazing. So should we have a listen to that now?
I reckon that's a great one.
So there's a link in the description to "Don't Give Up the Fight" by Public Enemy as an example of how hip-hop also deals with this idea of eco music. So that was Public Enemy's "Don't Give Up the Fight." Hopefully you've all watched that and listened to the whole thing. It's a pretty powerful piece of music and a great demonstration of how hip hop works as an eco music as well.
Absolutely,
So I guess when we're talking about eco music and the brief for SongStart, we can tell everyone watching what's next. So the first thing will be to, hopefully by now you've got some ideas, you've written down some thoughts and some lyrics on what you think the important issues are you'd like to talk about in protest music, or in particular in eco music. Do you have any, for anyone really struggling at home or in class, do you have any advice or any particular themes in eco music that might be helpful?
Yeah. Well, look, the big eco issues at the moment are, of course, climate change, and that you'll see that on TV just about every single day. And so there's a lot of issues around climate change, and the melting of the ice caps and the lifting of the Earth's overall temperature, and then the bushfires and change in climate, and that affects change in food production, all that sort of stuff. So climate change is one big area. In Australia, we actually are one of the worst countries in the world for creating extinction of species. What that means is, in our country, we are losing species. We're losing animals and plants. And not just for like 2 weeks or a month. No, forever. They're gone. So, loss of species is another very important area in Australia that we need to think about. The other thing that's happening and really important is the alternative energy sector. So you will hear a lot about the shift from coal-powered electricity generating stations to solar and wind turbine generations. So solar alternative energies is another big area, and that takes you into electric cars and all sorts of stuff. So it's a really exciting area. And I guess the last thing is something that Andy spoke about before, and that's the Great Barrier Reef and our oceans, and how our Great Barrier Reef, one of the biggest and best reefs in the world, is being seriously affected at the moment by runoff from the land and also by shift in temperature and bleaching issues. So there's a whole range of really big issues that you could look at.
It sounds like not only there's big issues that some people might actually want to do a bit of reading about and a bit of research to find out about to write a song more effectively, but also it might just be an environmental problem immediately in their backyard. You know, you can talk about the pollution of the environment by just talking about a dusty old car spitting out too much smoke out the back of its exhaust. So there's a lot of ways, I guess.
Recycling at home.
Yep, absolutely. So the students can kind of engage with these ideas.
Sure.
If they already don't have their own, there's some brilliant kind of inspirations and points to think about and research and talk about with your teacher, with your friends, and with the other songwriters that you might work with. So from here, I guess what we're looking at doing, you might be sitting in a classroom, you might be sitting at home watching this, you might be on your phone watching this. When you're recording and putting these ideas together, we really don't care how they come to us. We don't expect you to have a lovely studio like the one we're sitting in at the moment. You can record it, on your laptop. You could even record it just to camera on your phone, strumming the guitar, playing keyboard, even with a backing track that you made on GarageBand or any number of things. So we really don't mind how it comes to us, just as long as we get a good idea of the message of the song, the melody, and the harmony and the kind of structure. They're the kind of foundations of songwriting that we'd look at. So that's lyrics, harmony, melody, and structure. Everything else is about getting into a studio, which is hopefully what we'll do with you when your award-winning song gets selected by our panel of experts. So talk to your teachers, talk to your friends, go to the Facebook page. You'll hear advertisements for this competition on CFM at the moment. So if you jump online, go to the Facebook page and ask your teacher to enroll your song or upload your song via our online form, and we'll have it. So take your time, though. There's plenty of time for you to record and produce your work. I guess if we're going to wrap up and let everyone work on their music and their songwriting from here on in, we got any kind of points of inspiration, other work we might share with them?
Yeah. Well, I'd like to leave you with a song by a bloke called Julian Lennon. Now, your teachers will know who the Beatles are and who John Lennon was.
I hope they know who the Beatles are. I hope you do.
Anyway, this is John Lennon's son, and he's produced a song called Saltwater. And it's about, the line in it is, he talks about some environmental issues, and then it brings salt water to his eyes, which means that he's emotionally connected to the problems of the world. That's the one I'd like to leave you with. What about you?
Well, I might throw in a last little bit of advice, which is make sure you like the video and subscribe to the page, so that, because we'll have more of these. It may not necessarily be with Derek, but we'll have more workshops out in songwriting through the YouTube SongStart channel, and of course we'll post it up on all of the social media as well. But I guess what I and the link to Saltwater will be in the description to this video as well, just like all the other videos we've mentioned. So make sure you.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Also, I run a band called the Landscape Band, and we play here on the coast.
Oh,
We're a totally eco music band. We've got a YouTube channel, so that link will be there as well.
Great, excellent. We can do that. Absolutely, we can definitely put the Landscape Band link in there. So, the last song, it's not even a song. I mean, my technical definition of a song
the song is the noun of the verb sing, right? So a song has to have words. It doesn't have to have singing, you know, like any work of hip hop, any pop song, like they're all songs, but it needs to have lyrics. So I guess one of the best demonstrations of why culturally and ideologically music can make a massive impact is the last video I'll leave in the description is Jimi Hendrix playing the American national anthem, Star Spangled Banner, in August of 1969 at the Woodstock Festival. It's really an important work because he got massively criticized for doing it. And if you listen really carefully, it's a protest work about the Vietnam War. Jimmy was a paratrooper, and you can hear in it the dropping of bombs, and you can hear screams, you can hear machine guns, and Jimmy manages to do all of that just with his guitar and his amps on stage. Yeah. So it's an amazing bit of work. Yeah. For all of you to kind of go away and think about the kind of things that you can do with music, and in particular with songwriting, to express yourself and to make change. So, Derek, absolutely. Thanks so much for letting me interrupt your studio session. I better leave you to it. Look forward to hearing the song.
Yep. Okay.
And I guess we'll see everyone out there in the not too distant future.
Absolutely.
Great. Thanks,
Enjoy
mate.
SongStart.
Thanks, everyone.